Women of Reddit, what's the weirdest thing that turns you on? Heat. Warm rooms. It's difficult. And yes, saunas are a problem for me. Being in water with my husband. Like pools, lakes, the ocean. IDKY. I just get horny af when we are in water together. Even if he's not nearby or paying attention to me, we joke about it a lot. Being nervous. I'm not entirely sure how but or why I got cross somewhere along my sexual journey, and now when I get nervous I get sexually excited even though it's usually really inappropriate timing. So let's summarize. If you don't bathe after a big sweat and you approach a weird girl in a flash flood during a thunderstorm and skates with your socks off and are open to ass play, there's a chance. I've been very successful in my professional career path, but dark. When somebody tells me good girl at a girl for whatever reason instead of getting salty for it being patronizing, it makes me flush in more than one place. I dated a girl who got turned on by being late for things. I'm a guy who really hates being late, so it caused some tension when she'd be throwing herself at me 5 minutes before we needed to be someplace. I think she got off on the fact people had to wait for us, but I don't know. I've posted this before, but thunderstorms. Something about that heavy electric feeling in the air, the tension before the storm, the actual power of the thunderstorm is a huge turn on. I have no idea how sex and thunderstorms got linked together in my mind, but it happened sometime during college. DIGF gets a bit turned on when I chew gum. I don't get it either. When a man cooks for me I always want to jump him. It's so sexy to me. When my boyfriend changed my tire, he did it like it was nothing. It was so damn sexy. If I'm leaning on a wall and a guy puts both hands on either side of me on the wall, I kinda feel trapped and super turned on. Noises. So many guys are super quiet from years of jerking off in secret. It's a shame because I ache from just sounds sometimes. Tickling if it goes on for a period of time along with closeness. Usually my boyfriend does it to be silly, but it either makes me want to stop because I don't like tickling that much anyway, or to duck. When my husband is an arsehole to people I don't like or goes on a good rant. I don't know why. Maybe seeing him get passionate about something gets me going. One time he took the piss out of someone we both dislike on Facebook so expertly that I ducked him once I read the post. No joke. He doesn't do that often, and he's pretty much awesome to me all the time. Choking. If I'm watching a movie or show with someone getting strangled I get all squirmy and turned on. Long fingers that are all elegant looking. Not sure why, just the aesthetics. Would come in handy though, I guess. Proof that men will never be able to pinpoint the things that turn women on. Seriously, the range of events in this thread is staggering. If you take your goddamn socks off before a sex, I promise to do unspeakable things. It's not even a fetish. I just hate it when men wear socks to bed. Edit, because, eek. Dirty, rough, and calloused hands. Not filthy, just where he looks like he works with his hands for a living. Feeling calloused hands on my skin is enough to put me in a tizzy. I love having to be discreet or quiet to maintain normalcy, like going down on each other as one of us is on the phone having an actual conversation. I like the coy nature of it and it's got its own little thrill with only minor impact to whomever we're on the phone with. Edit, a word. I used to write erotica for a living. I once wrote a story on commission about a woman who got trapped in a sort of living rubber, head to toe, and effectively turned into a doll in the middle of an art gallery. Lots of buckles and straps all over her new shiny, jet black skin. Every part of her padlocked, immobile and in place so she couldn't move an inch. On public display just aching to be touched. Kept there until her mind went blank and she couldn't focus on anything but the tingling that spread throughout her body. At the end of it, the female gallery owner kissed her, had her taste her own juices, then put a gag in her mouth and turned the lights off, leaving her stuck there. It took me about 6 hours to write, and I broke off 8 times to masturbate. It was a new fetish for me, and, if I'm honest, not one that's really clicked with me since. And it was especially weird to be getting so riled up over something I'd written myself. So that, Probably. Attractive guys in pain. It just really gets me going for some reason. Those little white replacement erasers that come with mechanical pencils. Somehow, somewhere, some wires got crossed and I am now inexplicably attracted to men with pedo mustaches. Goatee optional. It's awkward. If a guy smells like sweat, not old not washed sweat but the I've just come from the gym. As well when a guy compliments my smell. That's the weirdest one I got. Hands. There's just something really attractive to me about strong hands with prominent tendons or veins. Think of a pianist's hands and you've got my biggest turn on nailed down pat. My husband's arm muscles. Now my husband has a dad bod. You wouldn't expect home to have guns. One day I was holding onto his bicep and he picked something up and I felt this huge hard egg. I think about it all the time. I always ask him to flex for me. Then I jump his bones. Trying to conceal their attraction toward me, knowing that they find me attractive and slightly intimidating. I guess that relates to vulnerability. I went to the senior prom with this seemingly dorky guy because I worked with his mom and he needed a date. During our first slow dance I could feel that he had a boner. I didn't say anything, just noticed it, but it turned me on so much even though I didn't really find him attractive. Also, I always went for the shy and quiet ones in the group. Tacos. I like it when people buy me tacos. I like shy nerdy guys. I enjoy the challenge and go crazy when I see the sexual side. Competence. A guy who is able to do anything that I'm not able to is a huge turn on for me. I'm a sucker for foreign accents and languages. Like, yeah, baby, I don't know what you're saying, but it sounds sexy. Watching a guy do outdoorsy things. I guess it's not that weird, but watching a guy rock climb, pitch a tent, pun intended, start a fire, etc. Anything that shows he is self-sufficient in nature. Huge turn on. You'd think guys have weird fetishes, but at least they are still somewhat sexual most of the time. Girls, on the other hand, have the most absurd things for sure. Chewing gum, being nervous, heat, water, food, erasers, the lack of socks. Some of these are not even related to human beings. When they show a lot of compassion to others. Usually it's supposed to be a heartwarming moment but I'm just here like let's do it right now. Examples range from when my ex moved a caterpillar from the middle of a bike trail onto a leaf so it doesn't get smushed, or when my crush was in my car while I was driving and I wanted to move to the right lane before the light turns red because that lane was open and I was behind 3 cars on my lane. Yes, that jerk was me, but he said don't do that. You'll block the cars that want to the right. Cause you can turn right during a red light here. And I was just like something I never even considered crushing intensifies. Seeing a dad being a great father. Dirt, oil, grease, grime. Just everything about it turns me on. When a guy with long hair has a just got out of bed bad hair day. Something about messy, frizzy hair turns me on. Edit. RIP my inbox. A co-worker walked by my chair once and very lightly touched the back of my neck. Oh my god, my mind literally went blank for a second. Mechanical keyboard. Sound of green switches makes me really horny, especially if typing is done by my fiance. Edit. Formatting. Send keycaps. Hug his body hair. I registered sign. I love running my hands fingers against his arm hair and rubbing my smooth, newly shaved legs against his hairy ones. Mayo. It's so weird and he doesn't get it but he lets me have my moment. And I can't believe no one has said this yet but veins. Holy it duck me up. I love the feeling of peeing when I'm otherwise freezing cold, for example. From being outside for an extended period in really low temperatures. I'm not into water sports. And it's generally just a no contrast. Feeling of warm pee leaving my cold body that isn't really sexual. But if said warm pee happens to hit my clit while I'm peeing, oh baby. Being pressed against a wall by a taller guy drives me wild. More than less than. I love watching my boyfriend eat, preferably hearty, sloppy foods like sandwiches and burritos. Something primal about it, I guess. When my husband leaves empty coffee cups around his desk workspace. Has to be somewhere I know he was working. For some reason. Maybe it's the equivalent of liking a handyman when you're married to an academic. IDK. Men's hands. I can't help imagining them touching me and it drives me nuts. So I am always watching men's hands and how they move. And men's necks. When I like someone I need to bit them in the neck. So watching guys with those V-neck white shirts melts me. As a 26-year-old virgin, I am so ducking confused after reading this thread. What the duck am I supposed to do lol? Learn how to perform a rain dance, carry tacos, chew gum, clean stuff, cook stuff, and be hairy everywhere except for around my cock. Edit. Should just add I am joking around.